Okay, let me paint a picture for you. You're a student, maybe in Lagos, maybe in Abuja. You've done your homework, you've picked Canada as your dream destination, and you are just imagining this incredible new life. You're picturing those beautiful, clean campuses, you're thinking about that post-study work permit, and, the ultimate prize, a legitimate shot at permanent residency. It all sounds so perfect. And then reality kind of knocks on the door. First up is this number. We're talking over 41,000 Canadian dollars, and that's just for 1 year of tuition. Okay, take a deep breath. We're just getting started. And right after you've tried to wrap your head around that, the Canadian government comes along and says, oh, and by the way, before you even think about getting on a plane, we need you to prove you have almost $23,000 just to live on for your first year. And let's be clear, that doesn't include your tuition, and it for sure doesn't include your flight tickets. All of a sudden, that dream adventure starts feeling a lot more like a financial endurance test, doesn't it? Well, hey there, welcome back to the channel. If you are seeing my video for the first time, a hearty welcome from the JoshLM finance crew. I'll be your guide today, so get your pen and notebook out and let's break this down. So look, even with these eye-watering costs, Canada is still, without a doubt, one of the top choices for students all over the world. But why? Let's take a look. I mean, the reasons are pretty solid, right? You've got universities that are respected all over the globe, you have really clear pathways to getting work after you graduate, and of course, that very real chance at permanent residency. But here's the catch for the 2026 intake. All these amazing benefits are now coming with one of the highest price tags we have ever seen. And if you're coming from Nigeria, the pressure from the currency exchange just makes everything 10 times more intense. All right, let's get into the main event here, tuition. This is, hands down, the single biggest expense you are going to face on this journey. So let's really dig into these numbers. Now, according to Statistics Canada, so this is legit data, the average tuition for an undergrad international student is sitting at around $41,700 per year. A master's is quite a bit less, around $24,000, and a PhD is even lower, near $12,500. These are the benchmark numbers you need to be thinking about. So let's just do a little mental math here. If that's the cost for just 1 year of an undergraduate degree, what's the total for a full 4-year program going to look like? You are looking at over 170,000 Canadian dollars. And that's just in tuition fees, nothing else. Oh, and remember, Ontario is usually the priciest province, so if your dream school is near Toronto, you might want to brace yourself. And hey, before you even get accepted anywhere, you've got all these little fees that just start chipping away at your bank account. Application fees can be up to $180 per school. You apply to 5 schools and bam, that's almost $1,000 gone. Then you've got your study permit and biometrics fees, which add up to another $235. It all adds up and it adds up fast. Okay, let's move on because this next part, this is the real shocker. This is where a lot of people get into trouble. We're talking about the proof of funds requirement. It catches so many applicants completely off guard. So what is it exactly? Well, the Canadian government says proof of funds, or POF, is the money you have to show them you have ready to go to cover your living costs for your first year. And this is the most important part, this amount is completely separate from your tuition money. For the 2026 school year, that magic number is $22,895. That is the absolute rock bottom minimum the government requires for one person. But here's the thing you have to understand. That minimum number, it doesn't really match up with reality. If you're actually planning to live in a major city like Toronto or Vancouver, you can expect your real living costs to be closer to $30,000, maybe even $32,000 a year or more. The government's number is just the starting line. Now, if you're bringing family with you, the math is straightforward, but it is very, very strict. You start with that base amount, and then you have to add $4,000 for every single dependent. If you miss this number by even a little bit, it's pretty much an automatic visa refusal, no questions asked. And allegedly, this is one of the biggest reasons applicants from Nigeria get rejected. But don't just take my word for it. Let's look at what the experts are saying, and even more importantly, what other students who are going through this are saying about all this financial pressure. So platforms like ApplyBoard did an analysis and found that the gap between what a local Canadian student pays versus an international student, it's now over 5 times higher. Let that sink in. 5 times. That just shows you the huge premium you're paying.
Immigration consultants are pretty much all saying the same thing. Whatever you think you need, budget for 10 to 15% more. And why is that? Well, because if your money is sitting in Naira, a bad swing in the exchange rate could literally wipe out your proof of funds overnight and destroy a perfectly solid application. It's a massive risk you have to plan for. And if you spend, I don't know, 5 minutes on X or any student forums, you'll see this exact sentiment over and over again. The people who are actually on the ground in Canada are all saying that $22,000, it's just not enough to live on anymore. This is a very real, shared struggle.
Okay, I know that was a lot of pretty heavy information. But we're not just here to point out the problems. Let's switch gears and talk about a practical, no-nonsense game plan you can use if you're aiming for 2026. All right, here is your checklist. Number 1, budget realistically. When you add everything up, tuition plus living costs, you could be looking at over $90,000 for just your first year. 2, secure and document every single source for your proof of funds. Be meticulous. 3, apply as early as possible. Delays are expensive. 4, watch those currency exchange rates like a hawk. And 5, don't be afraid to consider alternatives. Now, if you're finding this explainer helpful, do me a huge favor and hit that like button and subscribe. It honestly helps the channel grow and get this info out to more people. We are trying to hit our goal of 1,000 subscribers, and every single click gets us closer. Thanks so much for that.
And of course, just a quick but very important reminder, all of this content is for educational purposes. This is not official financial or immigration advice. Please use this information to help you ask better questions, but always consult with certified professionals for your specific situation. If you want to get more timely updates and join a community of people who are figuring out these same challenges, I really recommend you join my Telegram channel. The link is right there, and it's also down in the description. I tend to share a lot of stuff there first. And please, leave any questions or requests you have in the comments below. I promise you, I read every single one. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers!